Welcome to the Daughters and Disciples podcast, where we help Christian college girls know their identity and authority as daughters of God and equip them to become true disciples of Jesus Christ.
Daughters and Disciples podcast. Daughters and Disciples podcast. You are daughter, disciple. Daughters and Disciples podcast. Daughters and Disciples podcast. Daughters and Disciples podcast. You are daughter, disciple. Daughters and Disciples podcast.
Daughters and Disciples podcast is the Daughters and Disciples podcast is the Daughters and Disciples podcast is the Daughters and Disciples podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Daughters and Disciples podcast. I am your host, Justine, and today I have my girl, Lathania Barrett, in the building. And if you're wondering, okay, who is Lathania? Baby, it's time for you to find out, because let me tell y'all something. How do I know Lathania? Well, crazy, because my sister is a full-time GenZ missionary for Jesus, and she is here in the city of New Orleans, blessing the people of New Orleans with the gospel and helping out. Well, I'm gonna let you talk about Lathania. Who are you, girl?
My name is Lathania Barrett, but Lathania will suffice just fine. I don't know what you want to know, because I'm like, I want to know,
but are you in college? If you are, what college do you go to? What are you doing with your life right now?
I always feel the need to tell people my age because it gives context, but also blows people away. So let me just say, I'm a young 27. I know what I'm looking, but I am. Been in full-time missions for 5 years, but my journey started 9 years ago.
No way.
9 years ago. Yeah. So I'm in school now because, graduating high school, it was like, first of all, I didn't want anything to do with school. I was trying to be Beyonce for Jesus. I wanted to go make music. So school wasn't, I didn't know that. Yeah. So school wasn't necessary. And then once the Lord kind of rerouted me, it was just, I feel like I've always been in the headspace of like, I'm not going to school just to go. Like, I need a vision. Good. I need a purpose. And as missions became my life, it was like, how the heck am I going to go?
Okay, pause. What's missions? Some people watch
missions. Okay. Missions is the Great Cup mission. Okay. It's literally just being full-time, really like I'm trying not to use like churchy words, but it is like my job is to tell people about Jesus, to carry the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ.
So your full-time job is to go share the gospel with people.
Literally. I like to say Jesus is my job. It's a gift.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So like full-time missions in the sense that like, your job is sharing the gospel.
So you do full-time missions with who? How do you share the gospel?
Riders.
Oh, who is Circuit Riders? Tell us.
Circuit Riders is an organization that's a part of a larger umbrella called YWAM, Youth of the Mission, which Youth of the Mission is global. They probably have an expression. No, they have an expression in every country.
Wow. Some
of those, like, we call them bases. Some of those bases have full-time staff. Some of them look different depending on the place, because you got to be undercover. But that's YWAM. That's where I started 9 years ago. And then I joined Circuit Riders, which is a branch of YWAM. We're based in California. Our focus, I would say, is like college age.
Well, hold on, let's pause. So you got with YWAM 9 years ago. How did you find out about Youth with a Mission? Like, how'd you get involved with?
Girl, it was Jesus. I didn't know jack squat about missions, about evangelism, about my only context of ministry growing up was church.
Right.
And so I graduated high school. Like I said, I really was trying to be Beyonce for Jesus. Like, I was like, my thing was, I want to make music and I want to show people that you can love the Lord and make music and not be in compromise. Yes. Like, Jesus is fun. Living a life of surrender is fun. And you can have dope music that doesn't compromise your soul. So that was the mission. That was the vision. But the Lord was like, no. So he redirected me.
How do you say it?
No.
No.
I mean, he really just closed. The doors was closing. And at that time,
that's how he does that.
I wasn't necessarily able to discern the voice of the Lord because I didn't really know I could hear him for myself for real.
Yeah, that's so good.
So doors are closing. I'm trying to move to LA. All these things. Nothing is working out.
So you trying to move to LA from high school?
Yeah, from graduating. So I'm from San Diego, which is like 3-ish hours south.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to move to LA, go to school. Here, I don't even know what the plan was, girl. It was like, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to work a job, I'm going to make music and get discovered. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking. That's how you know I have no business up there. But basically, God made it very clear I wasn't supposed to go. So then I go home, and I'm like, well, I knew I wanted to use my life to bring glory to Jesus. And so...
You've always known that? Or was there a pivotal point where, like, it hit you like, ooh, he's worth it?
I think it would probably be my senior year just because, you know,
of high school.
You got to start thinking about what you want to do with your life. And I'm like, what do I want to do with my life? And I've loved Jesus my whole life.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Always been that girl. Like, I remember 6th grade, I'm showing up. I'm like, my name's Lathania. My favorite color is purple, and I love Jesus. Like,
no way.
I've always been that girl.
So were your parents, like, how did you get to this place where you always loved Jesus? Like, were your parents discipling you and how to love him, or like was it the church you're going to that just really like exposed you to him in such a way that impacted you at a young age? Like, or
it's a good question.
Yeah,
it's kind of a long story, but I would say my mom had me in church, and it just became my safe haven. Like, I love, to this day, I'm a church girl through and through. I'm like, I love the building, I love the people, I love the body, and I love the building. I love church.
Yes.
So it was just always my safe place. I felt like I could be a kid. I felt like I could have fun. Like, my home life was a mess. So my mom got me there for sure. She's the reason. But then there were times where she would not go, and I would still find a way to be there.
Wow.
Like, I love that.
Have you heard that song, Safe Place? Mm-hmm. Jesus, you're my safe place. Oh, you have to listen to it. It's a little banger. It's a little banger. It really is.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
So that's kind of, but that was the only context I had of ministry. Period.
Okay, was in a church building on Sunday services.
And I like to say that my church I grew up in was given family-owned business. Like, you got grandpa's the head pastor, son-in-law's the associate pastor, daughter-in-law is running. Yeah, she's running the children's ministry, daughter's running the women's ministry.
Wow.
So it's just given family.
They were a family on mission.
Yeah. But I wasn't a part of that family.
You weren't a part of the family, but you was a part of the God's family. So
sure was. He my daddy. I'm a child of the Lord. Okay, my father, he got my back. So basically, I love church, love God, love it all. And so I was like, I want to learn more about Jesus. Like, a lot of my friends had gone to Bible college, and I didn't want to go to the one they went to because everyone went. So I compiled a list of like Christian universities, Bible colleges, different programs, and YWAM got thrown on that list. And really my priority was like, I want to get out of California. I want to travel. I want to learn about God. So I'm looking up YWAM, literally off of Google search. Literally like YWAM.
I thought YWAM was in California though.
It's everywhere.
Oh,
but I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about it. It got put on that list because one of my mom's coworkers, who also had been at my high school, he was like my Jesus Club advisor. Like, I was president of a Christian club. So he was my advisor. So basically, I think his daughter had gone. So in the midst of all of my research, it came up, and I was like, 3 months of learning about Jesus, 2 months of being in the nations. I'm like, sign me up.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm thinking I'm signing up for Bible college. Not at all Bible college. Not at all.
Wow.
But
you was going to be signing up for the Bible Coming Alive college. You was going to be living out the Bible.
Yes.
Through college.
It was just that. And so I fell in love. I learned what unreached people are, which, like, if you didn't know, there are 3.1 billion people in the world that have no access to Jesus. It's not that they don't want him. It's that they've never heard his name. Like, literally never. No one's gone. No one's told them. Nobody knows. Like, generationally.
That's wild.
Which I would say,
and it's hard for Americans to grasp the concept of like, there's people on the earth that have never heard the name of Jesus.
Because we got a church on every street corner.
Right.
But there are people who literally, like, there's a whole window, geographical window called the 1040 window, like on the equator, that is where the majority of the unreached people are. So it's like the Middle East, you know, you got Turkey, you got Indonesia, you got like all of those like North African, countries. That whole span of the world, the 1040 window, is where a lot of them are. Like the Himalayas, like all of those places.
Interesting.
So I'm hearing this and I'm wrecked because I firmly believe that is the greatest injustice to ever exist, that you don't have access to Jesus.
Wow.
So I'm getting wrecked over that. I'm learning that I can share the gospel.
Injustice to ever exist. Not having access to Jesus.
Oh, it literally is.
Wow.
Because without him, there's no life.
No. There's no hope.
Solution.
There's nothing.
Nothing. Because it's what we were made for. So you don't have the thing you were made for, and it's not your fault. You just don't know.
Oh my God.
Nobody's gonna tell you.
Okay, so you're stirred. You hop on.
All the way.
You apply for YWAM.
Ruined.
Clearly, you get in.
Mm-hmm.
What happens
and then
next? I have to know now.
Yeah, this is where I learned all of this stuff, and we like to say that I was ruined for the ordinary. Like, I'm like, how can I go back and have a regular job?
Excuse me, 9 to 5 at a desk doing.
You want me to work at Chick-fil-A when people are dying?
No, we do love Chick-fil-A though. We do love
and
Chick-fil-A.
I did work at Chick-fil-a, but I just knew there was more.
Okay, hold on, pause. What's your favorite Chick-fil-A sauce that they have?
Okay, the tag is I'm a ketchup girl.
But please redeem yourself.
Sweet and spicy sriracha has become my
baby. I knew you were supposed to be on this podcast. I knew you were filled with the Spirit of God.
Yes,
I knew
because
taste and see. That sriracha is the best. Okay. And then if you need barbecue sauce for the fries, but
I'm a ketchup girl, but
that's true. But
I tried the sriracha joint,
and your life got changed.
Yeah, I got a spicy chicken
went
sandwich.
From glory
put
to glory.
the siracha on there, and then put ketchup too. So it was like a sweet,
I went for ketchup on mine, but I'm gonna let you still live.
No, you gotta try it though. It's the spicy one, especially because like the sweet spicy
on
sriracha,
my sandwich,
it takes it up, but then the ketchup cools it down.
All right, well let us catch up on where we were.
Right. So yeah, no. Basically, I'm in this DTS, and the Lord made it really clear, like, this is what my life is unto. Sorry, yes, discipleship training school. So that's what you do with YWAM, yeah.
Okay, you did discipleship training school.
Okay. Yeah. That's like the intro. So I'm doing this discipleship training school, and the Lord is just like, this is what your life is for.
And are you still in this discipleship training school, or did you graduate and now you're?
No, yeah, it's a 5 month. It's a 5 month program. So once you finish the 5 months, then you can join staff. So I've joined staff now.
Okay, so you did finish it, and then you joined staff. So you must have been on staff for years now, huh?
Well, I didn't go straight into staff. Yeah. Well, I took a year in between school and YWAM. Okay. And then with that base, I was in Orlando. You do the DTS. I'm going to tell you right now, YWAM has so many acronyms. They're all acronyms. YWAM, CR, DTS, SOMD, DTS, BS.
LOL.
It's everything.
Another one.
Right. So they have a secondary school, like a leadership school that you have to do to join staff there. So I went and did that.
First. That was the first stop.
It was DTS. No, it was high school, gap year, saving up money.
But after gap year.
DTS.
In where? Where was DTS?
Orlando.
So yeah, that's what I was saying. That was your first stop.
Yeah.
DTS in Orlando is your first stop. Okay.
And then I go back and I do SOMD.
You go back to where?
Staff.
Back to where?
Orlando. Because I'm from California. After the 5 months. So
Oh,
I do DTS, boom, graduate, finish, go back to California.
Okay.
6 weeks go by, boom, go back to Orlando. Do SOMD.
SOMD, which is?
The leadership school.
Their leadership school. Okay. And then how long is their leadership school?
Technically it's 5, but you don't have to do the full thing. Like you could skip the outreach. Yeah. But if you want to join staff, you got to do the full. So it's another 5 months.
Okay. So you did that. And then what happened after leadership school?
Girl.
Did you get sent to the nations yet?
Okay, no, yes. I went to the nations in DTS. So the way that it's set up is you have a 3-month lecture and then a 2-month outreach. So it's 5 months in total.
Oh, okay. So just tell us then, because your story is so interesting.
And we ain't even got
Tell us all the places where you've been.
Okay.
Doing missions. So, let's do non-US first, because I want to get to the stuff now. But we'll do nations first.
Okay. Well, in my DTS, my discipleship training school, this was 2016, 2017, and the Syrian refugee crisis was crazy. Like, they were all leaving in mass amounts. So we went to Europe because that's where a lot of the refugees were going. Wow. So I was in Greece for like 5 weeks and then Germany for like 3 weeks. And then, honestly, I hadn't been back to the nations. 5
weeks and then Germany for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was so fun and stretching. Y'all, people glamorize being a missionary, and while it is glorious, it is not glamorous. My backpack got stolen with my Bible, with my passport, with so much stuff. My journal that I used to freaking document my entire experience.
Oh,
I was the most hurt over my journal.
No, that journal, that would have hurt.
In my Bible.
Well, look, the Lord could take you up to the mountaintop like Moses and tell you the beginning. He can remind you of everything. You just heard on my heart. Heard it, write it down.
Thank God. Oh, you're talking about my journal? Yeah, no.
Oh my God.
I'm still hurt about that.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I would have been hurt about that too.
Yeah, so mad.
Wow.
But yeah.
What's what? I don't want to turn this whole episode into this, but it's just so fascinating. Like, I gotta ask you something. Like, is there like a takeaway from that time in Germany and Greece, or like something that surprised you? Like, I just want to hear like some kind of snippet from that time frame, because it's so like foreign. LOL, no pun intended. For us listening to think about like, oh, you're just going to other countries as a missionary. Like, I just want to like see something from that time.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it was a long time ago, but I mean, even just getting to talk to the refugees.
Yeah.
I think what was crazy to me is how pervasive hope can be. Because these are people who have lost everything. They've watched their family members die. Because a lot of it has to do with, at that time, it was like ISIS and the Taliban. Yeah. So they're escaping that. And then some, like, it wasn't just Syrians. There were Africans that had left because of civil war.
Yeah.
Some of them had left because of religious persecution, even because they were Christians, because so much of that area is Muslim. Wow. So you're meeting these people with really crazy stories, but they've seen horrible things, but they still are so tender. You know, like, I feel like if I had witnessed all of that destruction in despair, I would be a shell of a person.
Wow, your heart would harden.
Yeah, but you see these little kids running around playing Duck Duck Goose, and you're like, this is crazy. And,
how's this possible?
Yeah, so I think there was that, and then also the reality that it's like, okay, you survived, but you can thrive in Christ, and like I'm seeing so clearly that He really is the only solution for you, because
I'm like, you've lost everything. Like, what other hope could you offer someone but Christ?
And He is the good news, because I mean, even if you think about someone with a Muslim background or a lot of other like Eastern religion backgrounds, so much of it comes from striving and works, and it's like you could not earn this. He just loves you. And even in that, like, Islam is not a personal religion in the sense that God is not personal. So even in that sense, it's like, no, Jesus knows you. He knows you by name,
right? Especially if you're like at your lowest point, you want to serve and worship a God that like knows you,
that you can be close to.
Yes, because you need comfort. Like at the bare minimum, you need comfort. Wow.
So there was that. And then also I just love culture. I love Greece. I was there in January and
I've always wanted to go to Greece. I don't even know why.
You have to. You have to. Those people are, like, I don't know if you know about warm culture, cold culture. It kind of boils down to the weather. So, like, that's why, like, the Caribbean is so hospitable and warm, because it's warm culture.
Bruh, okay, I had that theory because I remember when I went to New York for track meet, I was like, these people are rude. And then I remember going back to Baylor, and it was wintertime and it was cold. And I'm outside socializing with everybody. When it was cold outside, I was like, move, I gotta get to class. And I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I said, they're not being rude.
It's
they're
different.
just cold.
Right. So literally going
cold-hearted and cold.
Greece to Germany, I was like, as it's warm. We're rolling 15 deep, and every restaurant we go to, they're giving us free food. Like, they're giving us free food. One time they brought us around of shots, and we were like,
we say, hold on now. Whoa there.
It was funny. But that's how they are. So going from that to Germany with, like, it's cold culture, babe. And bless their hearts, but
the Lord's working.
10 degrees. Like, I would be tight too.
Yeah, for real.
I had to live in that. So
that is miserable.
So yeah, but no, I love the culture. I loved seeing the Lord move and just His hand on people's lives.
That's so amazing.
And then I had a hiatus like 7 years, which was so painful for me. But I got to go to Kenya last summer. I was in Kenya for 4 months. Technically, I was in Tanzania for like 2-ish weeks of that 4 months, but I was mostly in Kenya.
Wow.
First time in Africa. Loved it.
That's
so
amazing.
Bad. I
loved it so bad. I'm crying.
It was amazing. I want to go back. I love Africa.
What was it about Africa that you just loved? Like, what captured your heart?
Okay, the most beautiful thing about, and I'll speak for Kenya because that's where I was, is it's a communal culture. In America, we are very individualistic. It's the whole capitalism running amok thing. But there, it's the whole thing of like, I am because we are. And so you're covered. And even like, you know what's crazy, Justine?
Please.
I led an outreach for that because we also did a discipleship training school out there because we have a whole circuit rider team in Kenya.
Wow.
But for them to be official, they had to do our DTS. So we went and staffed it and I helped staff, and then we did outreach.
That's amazing. And the people that y'all staffing in Kenya are Kenyans.
Wow. Fully Kenyan missionary circuit riders.
Like they're becoming their own missionaries, which really like should be the goal. Like you're empowering people to not need you.
Yeah, no, it's like they're doing the thing over there in their own expression. But there were like 30-year-olds on my team that I was like, part of me was frustrated because I was like, I feel like you should be like more responsible, more but it's because in a communal culture, like here, you got to look out for yourself and get your own.
Interesting.
At 18 years old, it's like, I'm an adult and I'm responsible for myself.
Yeah.
Over there in a communal context, it's never that. Because it's like, even if I have a job, first of all, they don't got to move out if they don't want to. Like, because it's so family oriented.
Wow.
But it's like, you don't harden in the sense that it's like, it's just me against the world. It's we against the world. And so
that's
people are so much more childlike, so much more humble. Like you are always taken care of. There's always a meal for you. There's always, and we see that in the Black community here some.
Yeah.
But that's where it comes from.
Wow.
And so it's so much more raw, so much more beautiful. And coming back to the States, it was like, dang, like I got to take care of myself. Like I'm not being covered and loved in the same way. And it challenges you because nothing is an inconvenience because it's a matter of we.
That's how how the first like church and Acts live.
That's how it's supposed to be.
I'm just like, wow.
That's how the Trinity is. That's what we were born out of. That's what we were meant to get back to. So I want to create that in my own life, like be a woman who carries that communal culture. But yeah, it was so beautiful.
That is so powerful. Okay, so Africa, and then where else?
That's it.
Okay, so praise God. So let's go to.
I've been to Mexico, like for blips, but
yeah. So let's go to right now. I want people to understand like what Lathania is doing now. That's why what are you doing? How'd you get to New Orleans? So tell us a little bit about Black Voices.
Your Black Voices. I don't know why I always making gang sounds, but or
we
gun
probably
sounds.
need to think through that. We need to think through that. We truly do.
Because I'm not even from that world. But
we need to think through that.
So Black Voice. So like I said, YWAM, you got circuit riders, and then you have Black Voices. Okay, so Black Voices is the expression within circuit riders that specifically reaches and serves the Black community. Started 2021, incredible. So that's what I'm doing in New Orleans because we go on an 8-week tour. So remember when I was talking about DTS and outreach?
Yes.
This 8-week tour is the outreach for our DTS students. Oh. So we spend 8 weeks going from campus to campus.
What kind of campuses? Any campus?
Well, for us, because of where our region is, like we're in the middle of America. So we're going from Michigan to Texas and back up. So it's a blend of PWIs and HBCUs because, like Michigan, ain't no HBCUs up there.
And PWI?
A predominantly white institution.
HBCU?
Historically Black College and University.
Okay.
So,
and what do y'all do when y'all go to these maybe some PWIs and HBCUs?
Yeah, so we work with students. Our whole heart is number one to see young Black people, first of all, find their identity, their calling in Jesus, to activate the missional heart of Jesus in Gen Z. That's our tagline. And then secondly, so it's like you finding your identity first in the gospel, and then second, empowering you to share the message of the gospel, because we really do believe that Jesus is the solution to all brokenness, every issue,
so good.
All of those things. So we work with students on these campuses to be like, hey, what's your dream? What's God put on your heart? What's your desire for your campus? How can we see it come to life? How can we train you to share the gospel? How can we get you tools to start a Bible study, whatever? And so we work with students on campuses, and we do, we'll have events. We call them gatherings. I don't know why we call them gatherings, but they're gatherings. And there's worship, there's a word, altar call. It's all about activation, because it's really like, bro, you are on your campus on assignment as a missionary.
Say that again.
You're on your campus on assignment as a missionary. You're not just there to get a degree. It's more than that.
And I love you're saying that, because that was literally, I think, our first episode was like, why college matters, or like why does God care about this time that you're on a college campus? And I was like, it's literally a mission field that God like wants to meet you in, because it's such a formative time for you. And then he like wants to encounter other people through you being on that campus. So I'm keep going, girl. Keep going.
I mean, there's a stat that says, I think it's like 70% of students that come to college as a Christian or with faith leave without it.
Wow.
70%. And then it's like, I know on PWIs especially, I think the stat is like 1 in 5 students are even involved or engaged with the college ministry. So there's just a lot of brokenness, a lot of need. People come to college to party and wild out.
Right.
But actually what we're seeing is people are coming to college and finding Jesus.
Come on.
So it's beautiful. But it comes through like that personal ownership of every student to go, okay, well, if I know him and he knows me, then I got to be about his business on this campus. Wow, I'm getting my degree.
And we're seeing that because like Ohio State, like, okay, tell us about, let's use Ohio State as like a little snippet. Like, we saw the football players were baptizing students on campus, and they were sharing the gospel. And then tell us a little bit about what happened when y'all just went to Ohio State.
So we were at Ohio State probably like 2 weeks ago.
And
we're working with this ministry on campus. Love them. Shout out T-Buck. We're working with them.
Another acronym.
Right, another acronym. Taking back our campus is what it stands for.
Yo, that is.
It's a good one. It's a good one. But they've been around for a minute, and the Lord blew up when we pulled through, and it had nothing to do with us. It was fully God and the power of prayer, the seeds of prayer that they had sown. We got to reap the benefit, which was so sobering. It's like,
that really is. That is very
crazy.
Humbling.
But so we had like, the room was packed out. It was like a lecture hall. I think we maxed out our count at like around 140. But there were people who were standing at the top with no seats.
Yeah, that's wild.
And I think we saw like 5 salvations, 3. No, I think it's 5 rededications, 3 salvations.
Thank you, Jesus.
The whole room came down. So we do 3 altar calls. It's like the first one is for salvation. The second one is for forgiveness. Because the message this year is Matthew 9, like 38, which is where Jesus says to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And so the second call is like, yo, to be able to love them, you got to forgive them. If you got an enemy, it's for a reason. So let's take care of that.
Oh, that's so good.
And at least probably somewhere near 20 came down for that call to like forgive and release.
That is just such healing healing for the soul. Like,
yes. And in our community, bitterness is a culture.
Yeah.
And so
say that again.
That was huge. Bitterness is a culture in our community, and it's gotta go. It's killing us, literally.
Yeah.
So there's that.
So good.
And then the third call is like, will you carry the love of Jesus to your campus, to your enemies, to those who are far off, to everyone? The whole room came down for that call.
Thank you, Lord.
And so we went up and worship at the end. It was so much fun.
That's what carry the love is. Oh, it's all starting to make sense now.
Yeah.
Will you carry the love of Jesus onto your campus?
So it's funny that we've kind of taken that on this year because it's just the message, but.
That's so amazing.
So the Lord, but from moment one, like song one, it was immediately we went up and the Lord showed up because people were hungry. And like I said, the power of prayer, that room was prepared in the spirit.
Yeah, that's so good.
It was crazy.
No, that's so, like, and I just hope those listening, I'm sure some of y'all, if y'all are like me, y'all just like, what the heck? Like, there's literally Gen Zs that are full-time missionaries going to college campuses and
we out here
and sharing the gospel like all across the country and around the nations. Like, there's a whole group of Gen Z and Black Gen Z too. Going around like this. You would not know this unless someone came to tell you like that this exists. Because people just think like Gen Z is just out here wilding out and so far gone. And I'm like, they don't understand how when God takes the radicalness of a Gen Zer and uses it for His kingdom, it is popping off. Like they will stop at nothing to lay down their lives for the gospel. So it's just so encouraging. So I'm just like, people have, that's why I was like, I gotta get Lathania on this podcast because people just don't know that this is happening.
You need to know. Let me set the record straight. Gen Z wants Jesus. Gen Z is hungry for truth. We are one of the most empowered generations. And the reality is it's only the gospel that gives you true power because it's the only message that will stand the test of time. And we're seeing Gen Z respond to that because we're out here looking and searching and we want something.
You mean the TikTok trends won't stand the test of time?
Oh, absolutely not. They come and go like that. The trend, everything. But we're seeing that people want Jesus. He is what they're looking for. They just don't know it.
Right.
They just don't know it.
And y'all are here to help
let them know. We're here to set the record straight.
And then those that they catalyze can go also help their campus show.
Multiply.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, we're gonna have. I didn't even put a timer on accident, but I felt the Lord was like, let that girl speak. Don't be looking at So, is there any last like things you want to say quickly about like Black voices and what y'all are doing before we transition to the next one?
Just a shameless plug that we're always looking for students to work with. So if you want to see people on your campus get saved, if you have a desire to unify, because the thing is there are so many Christian entities on campuses, but they're segregated, and that's why we're not seeing real breakthrough and revival because the Lord wants a unified bride. And so that's so much of our heart because we come in, we're Switzerland. Like our only message is the gospel. We're not here to start nothing. We're not trying to build a chapter. It's literally just Jesus. So if you have that heart and you're like, I want to see that on my campus, hit me up. Follow us at Black Voices MVMT on Instagram, and we'll hit you up. But
you should check it out.
But also, there's space for you. Your voice matters. You're needed.
That's so good.
Your voice matters. This is your permission slip. Take it.
Oh, hand out the permission slips. That's cute. That's cute. All right, Lathania. So, as our listeners know, we are in this series called The Journey of Just Enjoying Jesus. And I have different women come on and just share like how they specifically enjoy Jesus. And I just think it's such a gift for people to get to hear how different people are experiencing enjoying him. So that's like, oh, if I've never enjoyed him, maybe I could try it how she does. So, Lathania, will you tell the people how you specifically enjoy Jesus?
This is such a good question. I love that, man.
When the Holy Spirit gave it to us, we were like, oh, this is so good.
No, it's so good. Excuse me. It's a loaded question because
it is.
Jesus is my life, and he's my bestie. So we do a lot together, and I feel like I enjoy him in a lot of ways. But so I guess friendship would be the answer, in the sense that he is a part of everything that I do. And I see that in your life too, the way that you interact with the Lord. So that's kind of like a general thing is friendship. Friendship with God is the way that I enjoy him. But I think on a practical level, one of my favorite ways to spend time with the Lord is outside. I'm an outside girly. I'm a Southern California girl. So like the weather is pretty much perfect year round.
That's crazy.
Give or take a couple degrees. So I love being outside, and I feel like I connect with the Lord outside. I remember during that DTS back in 2016, as I was learning how to hear God's voice, I would just go on walks, and he would speak to me through nature. Like,
okay, explain that. Like,
like
if this is a foreign concept for someone, I would just love for them to like understand what you're saying.
Okay, so one of the first walks I took, I'm on this campus, this base that's like girl, it's like the middle of nowhere in the middle central Florida. And so I'm walking and I hear this screeching noise and I'm like, what is that? And I look up and there's a squirrel in the tree screeching. And I don't know about you, I never heard a squirrel make noise before. So I see the squirrel and I'm like, that's crazy. And I just felt this impression where the Lord was like, I don't only want to hear your voice when you're in distress, because that squirrel was screaming because something was happening. It was not okay. And the Lord was like, I don't want to only hear your voice when something's wrong, but I actually want, like, I want you to speak to me and come to me. So it's like that. Or like I'm walking and I'm looking around and there's like anthills all over. Not like the anthills that go up, but the anthills that kind of go down. And so you can see the holes on the ground, but then there are some where there are ants coming and going. And I can't fully remember everything the Lord said, but basically, and again, this is just an inner dialogue. I'm like kind of processing what I'm looking at. And he was basically saying, like, because the anthill is so small on the outside, you know that there's so much going on underneath the surface. And so the Lord was like, well, how do you know that an anthill is active? And I was like, well, if things are coming out of it, like if you see ants coming out of it. And basically the Lord was like, that's so true. And it's the same for you and your faith. Like, there's a lot going on under the surface that we don't know about. And that's where the fruit like needs to show. That's where there should be an overflowing over like of the Holy Spirit, basically. So these are the kind of conversations I'm having with the Lord. Walking, I'm just on a walk and I'm looking at, I'm taking in my surroundings. I'm hearing the screeching squirrel. I'm
like, are you going
on
a walk with your mind set on like walking with the Lord, or is it just something that's just happening, or are you like being intentional, like, okay, I want to just go on a walk and listen for the Lord? Or
I think it was both, because I'm an external processor. So those walks, they started out kind of as prayer walks. It was like, I'm going to spend time by myself. I'm going to get outside. I'm going to talk to God. And then I'm just going to I'm going to leave space for him to talk to me.
Okay, let's pause real quick on the prayer walks. Because I know for different people with different backgrounds, when they think of a prayer walk, they would think of like a formal, like I'm walking around. Some people praying like a rosary or something.
Right.
And then some like having to be like figuring out like structured things to tell God. What do you mean by prayer walk?
No, I'm literally processing, because prayer is a conversation. So I'm conversing with God. Like I'm literally walking around just talking. Father. I'm like, yo, Lord, I'm feeling this. This is what's going on in my heart right now. I don't really know what this means. Like, I'm just and then I leave space.
And that's what you mean by a prayer walk.
That's
and
what
I think we just have to renew people's minds, because I think prayer, they feel like it's so formal. I don't think people sometimes associate when we say something about prayer that we just mean we're just like having a casual friendship type conversation with God about our day, about our life.
Fully that. And like, I think even for me, like some of those moments, my quiet time, as we'll call it, my time with the Lord will look different. Because there were definitely, with that journal, RIP, I would sit and I would journal first, you know? So basically, everything that goes in my journal is a prayer, because prayer is a conversation with the Lord. So whether I journal first and then I go for the walk and basically clear my mind for the Lord to speak, or if I'm walking and I'm conversing and then I give the Lord time to speak. So either way, I'm getting it all out.
AKA you're talking to God, is to try to externally process all the stuff that's like clouding your mind, so that way you can get it out of your mind. And now you're like, okay, I have an empty like slate for you to now, like I can hear if you tell me something. I can actually hear it, because all these thoughts that were consuming me, I've gotten them out of my head and given them to you by talking to you about them.
Exactly.
That's so helpful.
Because that's what he wants. That's friendship. That's intimacy.
Yeah.
Your
friend wants to know what's going on.
Exactly. You know, and I think so often it's like, for me, and because I'm an external processor, in those conversations, the Holy Spirit just so subtly slides in. And so it could be something that I'm wrestling through, I don't have the answers for, and then something comes out of my mouth and I'm like, oh snap.
That used to happen to me. I would journal a question and I just keep writing, and somehow I wrote the answer and I'm like, I said, whoa, wait a minute, how did that happen?
Like, I know it wasn't me. And that's where it requires faith when you're talking about hearing God's voice. Because if you don't recognize that, and if you're not paying attention, you won't see that it's the Lord. Yeah. And I think
you could have just been like, why is this squirrel screeching? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you might have missed, like,
God
or
even just in your journaling, like as things are coming out that you're like, oh, that was crazy. It's kind of crazy and kind of prideful to attribute that to yourself. But if you're not used to slowing down to see the Lord, you wouldn't think that it was him. But the reality is he's talking to us so much more than we recognize.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of journaling, like physically, because you get to see that. But even in prayer, it's like, for me as an external processor, I'm saying stuff, feeling things, there may be angst, there may be frustration, but then something shifts in the midst of that and I'm like, oh, that's the Lord. Like you stepped into the conversation now.
Right. You know, I feel different, or I'm seeing something different.
And then on the other end, it's like you're saying, as I'm walking around enjoying things, my mind is empty. And so there's always an inner dialogue going on. But again, I recognize it's not just me talking to me.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm like,
And that inner dialogue, like, does it sound like a voice, or is it just like thoughts coming to your mind that you're like, I don't think I thought that, like, on my own?
Yeah. No, it's literally my thoughts. It's the way that I'm like thinking to myself. But again, it's like there's two voices in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the Lord is really, he's kind that he lets me take up a lot of space. But like I said, he does interject.
No, that's so good. And I just love this because it's just like people that have no like practical encounter with God or hearing his voice, like they might think it looks a specific way, which is why they feel like they can't experience that, when it's just like, oh no, that it's so much more simple and natural than you think. Like it's literally just like you talking to God and letting out your thoughts, and then like giving him space to insert his thoughts into your brain, and you're like,
Yes. Yeah. No, I love that. I love being outside with the Lord, even because I live in Southern California. Both of those moments were when I was in Florida, but I'm like, I live a mile from the beach, so I'll just go sit on the beach.
That's so nice.
And spend time. Walks are really it for me because I love movement, and I just think God be speaking. But
have you ever heard of mercy cultures? Like, I don't know what they call it, but it's pretty much like, how do you best spend time with Jesus assessment. And they have like 12 different categories, and one of them is like movement, one of them is nature, one of them is like solitude, silence, like, and you take this like assessment to figure out like how your personality, the way you're wired, best like experiences God. And so you're literally like listing off some of their things. So it's like, oh, she'd be a movement, nature.
it's real.
Yeah, I do find that like if I'm in nature, it's just so, like in New Orleans, outside of like City Park and Audubon Park, I don't really have places that I have found I enjoy to just go out and walk. But I'm like, man, I need to be more intentional, because I really do feel like I connect God, because it's like all of nature is just like on this rhythm of like they're in sync with the Lord. They're not striving or fighting. Like, so it's like when I go out to like there is a park pretty further out, I forgot the name right now, but when I go out to this one park, it is just so like, oh, now I'm in sync, because I'm around everything else that's in sync. Versus when you're among like people who are just like trying to do things their own way. It's just like, man.
And it's just a reflection of him. Nature is a reflection of the beauty of God. And the crazy thing is, so much, it doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't.
Talk to us.
It doesn't. Like, the sunset doesn't need to be 20 different colors. It doesn't. Like, there's so much about life, flowers, all that stuff. It's so like, good. The Lord put it there for our enjoyment. Like, some of it serves a purpose, but then some of it is like, he put it here knowing that you would go on a walk and find it.
So you saying we need to appreciate that brown grass and them Christmas trees?
Yeah, because they're preaching. You can't always be green, babe. The trees aren't always green. They're not always thriving and flourishing. So why do you think that you have to? Like, seasons are in order for a reason. You see what I'm saying? There's so much to learn.
Yes, he can speak.
Because everything, he's an intentional God.
Yeah.
So that's what you're talking about in the car. If you slow down to see it, you will actually see God and enjoy him in so many ways. But we be so hustle bustle that we miss him. And it's in plain sight.
I was literally telling somebody the other day, I was like, when I go to the mountains, like, you cannot be in the mountains and deny that there's a God. It's so majestic. Like, I hear God which, LOL, that might be why he took Moses to the mountaintop. Because I'm like, that is, wow, I got to process that later with the Lord. Because I was like, whenever I'm in the mountains, I can hear God so clearly.
The air's fresh.
Girl. Because it's just so majestic. I'm just like, I fear you. Like, you are here.
Because he made it all.
Yeah. It's just, Okay. So, if a girl is listening to this and they're just like, okay, this is how you enjoy Jesus. That sounds really cool. I wish that I could try that out. What is like a practical way that they can go test out doing this?
I would say set a timer for a certain amount of time. You could start with 30 minutes.
Okay.
And just go on a walk. And you may feel crazy talking out loud, but the reality is, it's not. First of all, just act like you got an AirPod in or something. But people don't be checking. Everyone else is too caught up in
talk in their head.
You can, but it's so much better when you talk out loud.
It is? Okay, I think I talk in my head. I need to practice talking.
But I would say I also talk in my head. I think it's just a matter of if you can keep your thoughts ordered, because sometimes that's what makes me an external processor. I need to get it out. But I feel like I do be walking in. It's a combination. Combination.
You could try both and see if one works better than the other.
But I would say go on a walk.
Okay.
And
outside.
You don't need to force anything. I feel like part of the beauty of being outside is there's enough going on that you can focus on that.
That's so good.
You know, sometimes I literally just go outside and I'm outside quiet. And I create space for the Lord. Other times I'm going outside and I'm chit-chatting. Because, you know, there are days where it's like you got a lot on your mind. And then there are other days where you're like, I'm actually okay. I just kind of want to be with God. So depending on what you're feeling, go outside get what you need out. And then give yourself space.
Yeah.
Enjoy outside. Take in your surroundings. Look at the trees. Look at the sky. Look at the people. Look on the grass. Like, stop walking. You know what I mean? Like, literally take everything in. And I promise you, even if the Lord doesn't speak to you through the nature, he's gonna speak, because it's like slowing yourself down enough for him to catch you.
Yeah.
People have said, somebody said, I think it was like Jesus was like a 3-mile-per-hour God, because that's like the pace that people walk at. Like, Jesus wasn't rushing anywhere. He was taking his time. So when we slow down, we get on his cadence.
You're present now.
Yeah. And that's really it. I think that's what's beautiful about nature, is it demands you to be present.
Ooh, yeah, that's
like,
so
leave your phone, put that thing on D&D, don't look at
it. Just do a pretend timer in your head.
Yeah, right. Or at the
or
least.
you can do stopwatch.
There you go, yeah.
Stopwatch.
At the least,
that's not an Apple Watch.
Put it on D&D.
Yeah, please.
Put on airplane mode for real.
Yeah, there you go.
Nobody can get to you, but you can still use your timer. And then just be present and watch what the Lord says. Because the T is, he be saying stuff that I'm not. I go out there with a list of things. I'm like, God, I need this. I'm struggling with this. What do you have to say about this? I need your help with this. He don't be talking about none of it. And he just be like, I love you.
With me.
I'm proud of you. And I'm like, you're proud of me? That's not even... You know what I mean? So it's like, even in that, bring your stuff.
The squirrel looking at you like...
Right, you good.
Yeah, I thought I had problems. What's wrong?
Right. So bring your stuff, but then ultimately just give the Lord space to speak.
Yeah, that's
and
so good.
At the least, you'll find a peace.
Yeah.
Because there's a peace in stillness.
At the least, you'll find a peace. And that's him, too.
Yes.
That's just as much him as, like, hearing a thought.
And that's on Elijah. He wasn't in the wind. He wasn't in the earthquake. He wasn't in the fire. He was in the still small voice.
Did you say, and that's on Elijah?
Yeah, the story of Elijah. Yeah.
I know, but I'm millennial.
And that's on Elijah.
And that's on Elijah.
Yeah, for real.
That is hilarious.
But I think that's what I'd say. There are other ways I enjoy him too. Worship is a major way because I love music, but we'll save that for another time.
No, that's so good. And I'm so grateful. And thank you so much, because that just makes me so encouraged. I'm like, someone's going to hear this and be able to try this. And it's going to help them enjoy Jesus. So, Lathania, to close out our time together, could you, any advice that you would share with college girls today, or Gen Z in general, but probably college girls today, what would you tell them or share with them?
There's so much that I could say. The first thing that came to my mind, okay, this is just a little side nugget. You will enjoy life so much more when you're being yourself. Be yourself.
Say it again.
Life is so much more enjoyable when you're being yourself.
That's really helpful.
And I've had to fight to be myself, but I kid you not, I've never been happier, freer, better. So that's a little side tangent, but what I really wanted to say was that you can have as much of Jesus as you want, and you have permission to love him as radically as you possibly can. The whole reason why I stepped into missions was because I wanted more of God. Wow. That's what led me to pursuing Bible college. That's what led me to pursuing Christian University. And that's what led me here 9 years later. Yeah. But if I hadn't felt the permission to throw my plans away, if I hadn't felt the permission to do to follow my heart's desire, which was to have more of him, I have no idea where I would be. So you can have as much of God as you want. You can literally have as much of him as you want.
It's really up to you.
And you have full permission to be radical. What are you afraid of? Like to
people's opinions, my friends, losing my friends. What do you mean?
And literally Paul said though, like, you can't hurt my spirit. You may hurt my body, but you can't hurt my soul. And at the end of the day, what is it to gain the world but to lose your soul? Wow. Jesus said, if you want to find me, you have to lose yourself. If you want to gain, you got to lose. But there's so much that you gain. Yeah. And everything else doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. Like, be yourself. Yeah. You'll
be so much happier that you did.
You'll enjoy life so much more. You'll enjoy God so much more. Yeah. But you have permission. You don't need permission from anybody to follow Jesus and be radical. And you'll actually enjoy him so much more. Because you get to have more of him.
And when you're being yourself, you enjoy him more. Because it's like he wired you in such a way to enjoy him based on who, like, your true self is. That's the one and the two. Yes. So it's just like, when you choose to be yourself, then you will find that you can enjoy God. Because he's like, oh, welcome to the party, the real you. Like, this is the one that I created. This is the one that I love. Like, this is
the one I delight in. Yes. Oh, you're the one he enjoys. If you enjoy him, I promise you'll be blown away by how much he enjoys you.
Yeah, that's great. I remember people always say, like, do you realize Jesus likes you? And it's like, God likes me? Like, I know he loves me because he has to. Like, you know how people say that? Like, you're my mom, you gotta love me. Yeah. And it's like, no, God likes you.
All the time. he never
he
has
wants
a bad
to
day
be your
with you.
friend. Oh,
Yeah.
so good. Well, Lathania, girl,
I love
thank
you.
you so much for
Thanks
coming on
for
this
having
podcast
me.
and just
Thanks for
blessing
listening,
us.
y'all.
Yeah. But all right, guys, it was such a joy to get to be with you and hear how you enjoy Jesus. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye bye. Love you.